everyone, and welcome to this edition of Tee It Up Grand Strand. Today we are happy to welcome back to the mic Mr. Tom Plankers, General Manager out at International World Tour here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. How are you doing, Tom?
Doing great, thank you. Glad to be here.
I know, and it's Masters Week.
It's Masters Week, and it's a big deal out at the International World Tour of Golf. We have a big promotion going. It's also helped sponsored by the PGA Superstores here in Myrtle Beach. So if you do come by the golf shop and play golf, you do get a discount for their stores. Also, we have another thing for inside the golf shop itself. If you purchase some merchandise of $20 or more, we give you a poster of number 12, Augusta National. So you get a pretty nice keepsake.
Wow, so a lot of Masters celebrations going on. Well, I'll tell you, to gear up for the Masters, the golf director staff came out last week, and we thank you for that, for having us, and played International World Tour. And around Aiming Corner, Jeff and I, our producer Jeff Gilder and I, had a little competition. We tweeted it out shot by shot, so I won't go through each shot, but, I like to say I won.
Well, that's great. That's nice. You're very polite.
Now, he did. I'm not polite when it comes to winning, Tom. But he did win the match. But I won Aiming Corner. 2 bogeys and a par. Not too bad.
That is very good. Some golf professionals this week would like to have that, I'm sure.
I'm sure. So I'm going to be watching much more closely this year. And that does just add a whole new experience to it. Because now, even though I know the grass and the greens are a little bit different, but it looked so much like it. I mean, I remembered, and I don't have that photographic memory like some folks have, but as we were playing, I mean, that was just really cool.
Well, Mel Graham did a fantastic job of making those 3 holes just exactly like it's supposed to be. And you do get the full experience. It is really nice. It's a lot of fun. And it is fun, like you say. I mean, you're going to sit there and watch TV, and you're going to watch the players go through 11, 12, and 13 and go, I played that, and it's kind of neat.
Yep, I've been there. Wish I had been there. But
there you go.
But let me tell you, the greens looked fantastic. They were rolling so true, a little bit too true. They were a little quick for me. I was out of practice, but we just had a wonderful time. Always amazing to me how with all the golf courses, but especially that one we were there last week, can be just so pristine, especially after some of the weather we've had. That's made some headlines.
Yep, after the weather we've had, we are in very good shape. We're in very good shape, and we're very proud of the superintendent. He's very good at keeping it that way.
I know I've always said the golf course is just somewhere, there's very few places you can go and be on that many acres of pristinely manicured landscaped property and have that much fun. As we ran around that day, I kept telling Dave, isn't this the best day of our life? For today, anyway. But it was fun. So you've actually brought some trivia facts from not only those 3 holes, but from Augusta. So I'm excited about this.
It really is. Augusta National and the Masters Golf Tournament is really a special place, and it has more history than I think a lot of people realize. I could go on and talk about it because the history is just unbelievable. But
a lot of traditions, too.
Oh, my goodness gracious, yes. I mean, it's really something. But, getting back to the World Tour with the history and the plaques and everything, it emulates exactly what I'm going to speak of today. It's really interesting to see some things that people don't even realize, such as it was a site of the Fruitland Nursery. It was a nursery, and that's why you see different types of trees on that golf course.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they did keep some of them. They even have one palm tree there that nobody sees, and it's behind a green. And I believe it's on number 3, but you never see it.
So I'm going to be looking now. It's behind the green, you think?
I don't even think you're going to see it.
You can't see it.
Do that.
We'll have to put in a request to.
It's kind of also interesting that the first Masters champion, a lot of people don't know who that was, and it was Horton Smith, and that was in 1934. Horton Smith was 4 under par, shot a total of 284, and was only 1 stroke better than a gentleman named Craig Wood, who there was only 4 players that whole tournament. The first one that was under par.
Oh wow!
And one who broke par and was Billy Burke and Paul Renyon, and they were 2 under par. So it's quite interesting. The first one, and you think about the equipment they had back then, and the winner was 4 under par. And I think probably a lot of players would like to be 4 under par at the Masters, even this week.
Even this week, I know. I mean, we definitely see some of the really low scores, or have in the past. They've made some changes to the course, but to be 4 under with not only the clubs but the balls,
Oh my goodness!
and also the way the course was manicured. I mean, we've been talking about that. They didn't have the equipment to mow the grass down and make the fairways run like they do now. So.
No, not at all. In fact, that's a good point. The ball just didn't go very far then. The only thing that a lot of people don't realize that that's not the true name of the course. When it first started, the course was named the Augusta National Invitational Tournament, and that was back in 1934. And it was co-founded by Clifford Robertson, and also by Bobby Jones. And Bobby Jones kind of disagreed with that. He didn't like the word the Masters, but Cliff Robertson thought it was quite unique because it was the tournament. So in 1939, Bobby Jones finally gave his blessing to call it the Masters.
Oh, the Masters.
Yeah.
Wow.
The one thing that a lot of people don't realize too about that golf facility is everyone sees the Masters and the green jacket. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting about the green jacket. It started a long time ago with the members, and the members had to wear green jackets only because the people that were out there watching would be asking questions, and they could find the gentleman in the green jacket, which was a member, could answer the questions. The only trouble is back then,
right,
they were wool jackets.
In April.
A little warm. So, but the first green jacket ever presented was in 1949 to Sam Snead. And, of course, they have changed the texture of the jacket since then.
Yes.
And he was the first one to have the green jacket. A lot of people also ask, well, do the players get to keep their jacket?
Yeah, we were wondering about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of a yes and kind of sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of yes. He can take it home for that year that he won. But when he returns the next year, he has to bring the jacket back. And it's kind of like the champion has visitation rights to his jacket. And when he's at the club and all, he can wear his jacket. When he comes there, he can have his jacket. He can look at his jacket. But it does stay at the club.
That's amazing. And we were talking earlier, you said they actually have their own locker room.
They have, right, and that's where the jacket stays with their name on it. And they have multiple jackets in a locker, obviously.
Yeah, and I know we don't know this answer, but I'm going to put it out there. It would be curious to know exactly how many of them are still there. I mean, if they stay, if they only, I don't know. That would just be, I would love to know that. So we're going to have to do some research there. But cool.
Probably the way they do the tradition at Augusta National, I would probably assume, and I shouldn't say assume, that probably Sam Snead still has his jacket.
Still has his jacket. That would be so cool. Mm-hmm. That would be so cool. I was fortunate enough to interview Brad Mara yesterday down from Hilton Head, and he actually got to play this year, and we were talking about, rubbing it in, and he said he would absolutely be rubbing it in when he was walking around saying, I was there. And I would think that would be neat if you could walk in and then put on your green jacket, and then you got real bragging rights, of course, because you won. Yes. But what another just very cool tradition that they limit play, and they also just to I guess piggyback on that, when you win, you don't even get to keep your jacket. That's amazing, but you do get to keep the trophy.
There's another thing that a lot of people don't realize.
I didn't even know, yeah.
They do have a trophy. And, of course, everyone, if you're fortunate enough, can see the real trophy. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they do show it on TV. And that trophy is got the engraving of the winner and the runner-up every year engraved on it. And the trophy is made of more than 900 pieces of silver. So
wow.
It is silver.
Wow.
And it rests on a pedestal in the club. It was introduced in 1961, and since 1993, there's been a replica of that trophy, which is a sterling silver replica, that is given to the winner of the tournament
And they put the runner-up's name on there.
the original one.
Is that, I wonder, I've never heard of that before. I wonder if that's the only one that is done like that.
That I don't know. The other
That's
thing
cool.
that the winner gets, he gets a 2.3 ounce gold medallion with the words Augusta National Club on it. So he also gets this nice metal medallion that he gets to keep.
Nice ball marker, huh? Yeah, well, no.
Yeah. The low amateur, which is very interesting. The low amateur gets a silver cup, but there's a stipulation. He has to make the cut. And if he doesn't make the cut, then nothing is given away. And that started back in 1952. There's more trophies, I think, than a lot of people realize that are given in the week of Masters Week. The par 3 tournament that's held Wednesday,
Right.
which is very fun to watch. You get a crystal bowl, rather, if you win that one. Also, getting back to the major trophy of the tournament itself, the runner-up does get a silver medallion, and he does get a silver serving tray, and that's for second place in the Masters. The second low amateur, if he makes the cut, he also gets a silver medal also.
Nice.
So it's kind of interesting. The low round of the day, for every day there's a low round, he gets a crystal vase. And for a hole-in-one, you get a crystal bowl. For a double eagle, you get a crystal bowl. And if you eagle a hole, you get 2 crystal goblets. So there's quite a bit of
There's a lot going
trophy
on.
going on during that week that I don't think a lot of people realize. You were also speaking of, we're talking about the yardage and stuff of that nature.
Right.
It's kind of interesting about the yardage. Right now, it is playing at 7,435 yards. But in 1940, it played to 6,800. In 1980, it played to 7,040. And then in the year 2000, it went back to 6,985. And then in the year 2010, it was the 6,435, and it has stayed that way. So it's kind of interesting how it goes from 68 to 674 and back and forth. The course record out there was done by Nick Price and by Greg Norman, and they both shot 63.
Wow.
So it's
the putter was definitely working for them that day. Must have been.
a whole lot of things were working for them that day. And,
Had to be. Had to be.
Out at the World Tour, like I said, you can play Amen Corner. We have it. They say that the Masters never starts till Sunday on 11, 12, and 13.
That's right.
And that's where it's either won or lost. And if you watch TV, and you will see that that's the truth. The golf writer from Sports Illustrated a long time ago was named Herbert Wind, and his take on this, and everyone wants to know where they got Amen Corner. Well, he came up with this. He thought that prayers were needed to get the player through without a disaster.
Right.
And so he christened those holes Amen Corner. But there's a second version to that, too.
Okay.
They also say that he was a great jazz lover, and he liked jazz, and he heard a song in the 1930s that was called Shouting at the Amen Corner. So I think the players today, go for the prayers and hope they get around versus
Hope they get the shouting,
jazz,
right?
versus the jazz.
Yeah.
It was kind of another little thing. In 1990, Ray Floyd was in a playoff, and he pulled his shot into the water on number 11, and in the playoff, Nick Faldo won. And I think the one that a lot of people might remember was Larry Mize. He was 50 yards off the green.
I remember.
And made a birdie on poor Greg Norman. And I think Greg Norman has gone through a couple of tribulations on that golf course.
I know.
And that was just one of them.
I know. He's tired of us talking about it, I'm sure.
Yes. The next hole, which is the par 3, which is the 12th hole, it only plays to like 155 yards, I believe it is, something like that. And that's the middle of Amen Corner.
Well, that might be what the yardage states, but
Yes.
that's not what it plays to.
No, it is not. It's not. And the biggest thing there is obviously there's wind coming over the trees, and you always watch the golf professionals sitting there, conversation with the caddy, trying to figure out what in the heck to hit. And it is because of the way the wind blows. And of course, then you have Amen Corner. You have the Raised Creek.
Race Creek, that's right. I want to know, before we go any further, I want to know how you guys were able to simulate the wind as well. We were into the wind all day, and they talk about that at Augusta. We said, wow, they even got the wind to cooperate out here. No, it was fun, though.
No, it is true. It's very interesting. And when you play out at World Tour, you better take one more club than you think you really need. But Raised Creek, it runs right in front of it, so
Yes.
Obviously you've got the hazard in front, and then, of course, the green itself, and you don't want to go over the green. Raised Creek, another little thing. Raised Creek was named after John Ray, who was the former property owner there. And he died in 1789, but that's how they got the name of Raised Creek.
I'm glad you brought me notes, too, because I'm taking on anybody in trivia after this.
The biggest thing on the par 3 was in 1980, Tom Weiskopf, beg your pardon,
Yeah.
poor Tom Weiskopf. He recorded a 13, and he was quoted to say he never hit a bad shot.
Really?
Never hit a bad shot.
Oh, gosh.
And the last hole is the par 5, number 13, which
Beautiful.
everyone sees. It's one of the shots that you saw. Phil Mickelson hit a fantastic shot out of the woods. Tiger Woods did the same thing. It's very accessible to people who hit a very long tee shot and can get it around the corner. You go over the Nelson Bridge, which was built in 1958 and dedicated to him for his performance in the Masters at 1937.
Wow.
But from tee to green, the reason it is so outstanding is there's 1,600 azaleas that on the left-hand side that make it just absolutely one of probably the prettiest holes out there. And it's just gorgeous to see on TV, and it is in person.
Well, not only 1,600 azaleas, but 1,600 trained azaleas that know exactly when to bloom.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
And in 1958, Arnold Palmer eagled that hole to win his first major tournament. So
I guess I just didn't realize his first major was the Masters.
So there is a lot of history at Augusta National, and like I said, we could go on and talk for days about the history. But if you come to World Tour, you will see the history. You'll get to play the golf holes. You'll get to read about the history. The clubhouse has memorabilia in it. In fact, when I left, it was interesting. We do have a showcase of all the master tickets that you can have.
We looked at that. That was awesome.
It's interesting that back in, I believe it's the 50s, you could get into the Masters for $10.
Unreal. I know we read, and I took some pictures of the different plaques at every hole, not just around Amen Corner out at World Tour, and just the amount of detail you can get on that plaque. That was pretty interesting. Definitely a history lesson, like you said, going out there. And Amen Corner, like I said on TV, I'll definitely be looking at it a little differently, knowing that I won a little bit. No, he's rolling his eyes back there. That's awesome. Well, so come out and play World Tour. How long is that promotion going on where you can get the discount at the PGA Superstore? Our friends out at the PGA Superstore are wonderful here.
That in the poster,
Yes.
it goes from, it's all Masters Week, and it will end on the 14th, which will be a Monday.
Okay, so it goes through Monday,
Through
though.
Monday.
Because Monday after the Masters is coming up on that Monday. So if you're in town for that, go over and take a look at World Tour, International World Tour, right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Tom, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you very much. It's a big week out there for us.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to be a part of it. All right, this edition of Tee It Up Grand Strand has been brought to you by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com.